Hi guys, I'm Kelly. I am an owner and teacher at Workshop here in SF. I teach everything from sewing to screen printing to carpentry and a little bit of mixology. So today I'm going to teach you guys some fun basics of bartending and a couple fun summer drinks that you can make at home really easy to dazzle and impress your friends. Our first drink we're going to make is a Basil Gimlet. Gimlets are kind of an old school classic cocktail inspired by Mad Men. But I'm going to show you guys how to make a fun, summery, simple one. We're going to start with our pint glass. And what we're going to do is put a couple pieces of fresh basil in. And I'm going to grab 3 or 4. If you don't like a ton of herbs, you can do less. If you do, you can go more. And we're just going to spank our herbs. There you go. Let's get that one. And we're just gonna start by muddling it in the bottom of the glass, like I showed you guys. And you don't need to go nuts. You don't need to beat the heck out of it. Just get it kind of nice and tender. Now, our next step is we're gonna add some booze in here. You can make a gimlet with gin or you can make it with vodka. It depends on your taste. I'm gonna go ahead and make it with vodka because that's my preference. And we're gonna use 1.5 ounces, which if you remember, it's the top side of your jigger. So let me go ahead and get some vodka in here. And again, you're always gonna build your cocktails in your glass, in the clear glass, so you can see it. Next step is we're gonna do about half of a lime. And same thing with the herbs. Like if you like a lot of lime in your drink, you can add more. If you don't, then you can go less. Yeah, I know, it's pretty exciting. So I've got my lime in there. Last step is I'm gonna add 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup in here. And our bottom jigger is an ounce, so you're just gonna go a little bit below. And simple syrup is basically just equal parts water and sugar and just gives it a little sweetness. So now that we've got this built up, what I'm gonna do is put some ice in. And get that nice and frosty. Now, if you're afraid to have it a little bit strong, you can add a little dash of club soda to it if you want. I'm just gonna add a tiny dash, nothing too crazy. Now I'm ready to shake this puppy up. And with shaking cocktails, you don't wanna overshake it, you just wanna shake it till the ice starts to sound like sand. And then you flip it, tap it till it comes loose. We use a plastic cup because I'm clumsy. And then if you want, you can just pour this directly into a glass. We're gonna do more of a summery look, so I'm just gonna pour it right into the glass. If you're going for something a little more classy, what you would do is you could pour it into a martini glass. You're gonna use your strainer. You would actually pour it back in here. Use your julep strainer, and then you can pour your cocktail strain. Now, because we're using mason jars and they're really fun and summery, I'm just gonna go for the whole thing in the glass, make it really fun. And then I'm gonna add a little sprig of basil, and I'm also gonna add a little garnish of lime. Now you have a Basil Gimlet. Cheers. Our next drink we're gonna make, guys, is an Elderflower Greyhound. So it's kind of a fancy spin on our traditional Greyhound. Super easy to make. You can actually make it with gin or vodka also. And the other liquor we're gonna be using is Saint Germain. And Saint Germain is an elderflower liquor. It's really strong in flavor, so we're only adding a little bit. So we're gonna start with, we're gonna go ahead and build in our glass. And we're gonna do 1.5 ounces of gin. I like using Hendrick's because it has a nice little taste to it that goes well with the Saint Germain. And now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna squeeze in an ounce of grapefruit juice. I'm not gonna be exact on it. What you can do is you can cut a grapefruit in quarters and you can put it in here and squeeze it. Woo! And it'll take a few. What I like to do is just kind of dig in there with the simple squeezer so that I also get a little pulp. And don't be afraid if you get a couple seeds, no big deal, you can strain it. So I've got my fresh grapefruit juice in there. Now the last thing I'm gonna add is just 0.5 ounce or half an ounce of the Saint Germain. And again, this is pretty strong, so you only need a little bit. We're gonna use our bottom jigger, since that's 1 ounce, and we're just gonna do half of that. And this smells really, really good. There we go, cool. So that's all we need. 1.5 ounces of gin, an ounce of grapefruit, or a little bit more is fine, and then half an ounce of the Saint Germain. Now what I'm gonna do is throw this in a bunch of ice. I'll pour it in my mixer, get it down, and I'm gonna shake. I'm gonna smack it to get it loose. Sometimes the ice kind of frosts it up a little bit. There we go. And I'm actually gonna serve this on the rocks. So I'm just gonna put a couple pieces of ice in a glass like this. And because I got a couple pieces of pulp and also some seeds in this, I'm gonna go ahead and strain this. So how I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna pour it back into my pint glass. I'm gonna grab my little strainer. I'm gonna hold it with my index finger like this, and I'm gonna go ahead and pour. And this is really good for brunches. I love these. And then usually I'll garnish it. You can kind of garnish with any kind of herbs. I have some fresh thyme, and I have some mint, and I have some basil. I'm just gonna do 2 little pieces of basil. And that's it, nice and simple, it's good. Our last drink we're making is a sweet tea vodka mojito. Sweet tea vodka is somewhat new on the liquor scene. It is my favorite. It is super summery. There's a bunch of brands. You can just mix it with some club soda and a bunch of lemon and it's really good. But I'm gonna show you guys how to make something a little different where we actually make a version of a mojito out of it. So mojitos have a ton of mint in them. So we're gonna do some muddling, get her twisting on. So what you want to do is just grab a handful of mint. You're going to throw it in your pint glass. And we're just going to muddle the heck out of this thing. And get all that mint. And anytime I do barbecues or dinner parties, I always make these drinks. And you guys can see they're not that complicated. But when you add a lot of process into it and you're muddling and straining, it just looks pretty fun. And your friends are all like, ooh. And then they won't ever miss your parties. So this is a really good one. So look at all that mint in there. It smells really good. Now I'm gonna add 2 ounces of sweet tea vodka. So I'm gonna do one of our big jiggers, ding, and a little dash more because I need another half an ounce. And you can also make your own sweet tea vodka too. I've tried it a couple times and it comes out pretty good. And the next step is we're gonna add in some club soda, and we're gonna add in 2.5 ounces of club soda. I'm just gonna eyeball it. You can measure it because we have 2 ounces of the sweet tea vodka. I'm just gonna try to match that and then add a little bit more. That's pretty good. If you guys are type A, you can totally measure. And the last thing I'm gonna do is squeeze in a full lime. And traditionally, when you're doing sweet tea vodkas with you know, just a little club soda, you're gonna use lemon, but mojitos also have lime, and it just kind of gives it a cool flavor. I've also made these with orange before, and it's pretty good. Like anything you have with iced tea is pretty good. I really like lime, so I'm gonna add one more little dash. There we go, I cheated. All right, cool. So now that we've got this, what I'm gonna do is throw in some ice. And you don't need to go too crazy with shaking this. We're just gonna give it a couple quick tosses. Go ahead and slap it. And you can serve it just like this with all the fun mint and everything floating around. Some people are not as much of a fan of all the floaters of the herbs. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and I'm gonna use a mason jar again because it looks so cute and summery. And I'm gonna go ahead and strain this in over some ice. Get all the goodness in there. And then I'm just gonna add in a little bit of mint for garnish and a little bit of lime. And you've got a little iced tea mojito. Cheers guys, thanks for hanging and making drinks with me.